What's up guys, Jay here from Square Pegs. There's a lot of news happening in video games lately. We've got Blizzard in China, we've got PS5 details, Nintendo dropping some crazy patents about Joy-Con models, so here's a timely topic we're going to talk about. My top 10 favorite Dreamcast games.
Alright, so we're going to start with a few honorable mentions, and up first is one of my favorite sports series, the NHL 2K series, specifically NHL 2K2. Now, I played hockey most of my youth, and it is my favorite sport by far, and I loved NHL 2K2. So much so that this was actually my preferred game even over the EA NHL games. I liked this a lot, and I really liked it when there was competition for EA because they actually, were inspired to make something new. Up next, we got Dragon Riders Chronicles of Pern. Now, as a D&D nerd, I gotta be honest, this game's not great, but it does speak to that internal nerd in me. And is something that I have some fun with. It's not perfect, it's clunky, there's definitely some bad mechanics in here, and there's some quality of life improvements that I would have made before releasing, but as someone who loves D&D and loves Forgotten Realms, the Chronicles of Pern was not something that I wanted to pass up, and something I liked from when I was a kid to now. Up next, we've got Giga Wing 2. Giga Wing 2 is a great shoot-'em-up. It's not my favorite. We'll see my favorite shoot-'em-up later on in this video in the top 10, but it is really good. It's got a ton of style, ton of substance to it, and it's a bullet hell without being so unforgiving that you're going to want to throw your controller across the room. It's definitely hard, incredibly so, but definitely worth playing and worth checking out if you're able to. Yeah, and this one's going to raise some eyebrows, but to me, Soul Calibur was never my favorite fighter on the Dreamcast. It's no doubt good, but it's not my favorite. You'll see those coming up later, but I can't deny how influential it was and how well made it was. I mean, you can see it here. This game's almost 20 years old, and it still looks gorgeous. It's a great game. It's definitely worth something to pick up and to check out if you're a fan of all of the Soul Calibur series. You got to see where it all started. But to me, it just wasn't in the top 10. Cannon Spike. The result of a drunken night of Street Fighter producers playing Smash TV. Now, this game is good. I don't want to take anything away from it. But the reason it doesn't make it into the top 10 is no fault of its own. It's a fault of the Dreamcast itself. This is when the Dreamcast really could have used a second analog stick, because this game begs to be a twin-stick shooter instead of a single-stick shooter. It's fun, but it suffers, and it could really use some quality of life improvements. Now, WWF Royal Rumble is not a good game, but when you own a Dreamcast, you're left wanting for good wrestling games. When the N64 got stuff like No Mercy and WCW NWO Revenge, we on the Dreamcast got Royal Rumble. Now, it's fun, I'm not gonna lie. I've got some good memories here playing on Friday night fights with my friends, but it's definitely not what I would call a good or deep wrestling game. But hey, at least you can lock in the Taz mission on Chris Jericho and then rock him gently to sleep, apparently. It was fun, it was okay, but not great. Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles is another game that was fun, not great, but I have a lot of good memories of playing it with friends. And really, you can't go wrong when you're able to play as Plo Koon, the best Jedi, my personal favorite. It's a beat-em-up game, kind of like Battletoads or Streets of Rage or anything like that. It's just not as well done as any of those games. It's definitely got a Star Wars feel. Now, here we go, into the top 10. Mr. Driller is an action puzzle game from Namco, and it's really great. If you've never played it, you owe it to yourself to check it out. So the idea of the game is you are Mr. Driller, and you are trying to get as deep into the mine as you possibly can. You have an air meter, as you can see on the right, and the whole goal is to get as deep as you can without getting squished. It's harder than it sounds, it's simple in concept, difficult to master, but lots of fun. Alright, 2A and 2B, Power Stone and Power Stone 2. Now, Power Stone is such a great 3D fighter, and these games just scream for an HD remake or a remaster, or God forbid a sequel set in the Power Stone universe where we can just have a ton of fun with these amazing characters and this awesome combat mechanic. This was a 3D fighter that didn't feel forced, it felt natural, it was well made, and I would love to see this come back out on the Switch. Now, everything that Power Stone 1 did well, Power Stone 2 did better. You got more exciting characters, you got better animations, you got better character models, you got more interactive stages, and you got great items that you can pick up and play with. It was just so perfect and so much fun. I had this on the Dreamcast, obviously, and I also ended up getting it on my PS Vita when I owned it. And it was just such a wonderful memory to come back and play these great games. I loved being able to pick up these crazy items. And look at this. Freeze them, blow them up. So much fun. Now, Project Justice was a sequel to Rival Schools on the PlayStation. It is a weird Capcom fighter, I won't lie. It's basically high schoolers and their teachers beating the crap out of each other. But it's really well done. It's goofy and fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, this is like the most low-key, ridiculous fighter that Capcom has produced, even beyond so much as ridiculous as Darkstalkers is. This is a great game. It's a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out if you can find it. Now, I had this game on the N64 as well, and Episode 1 Racer is just a great game. There's nothing about it that doesn't work. It takes the best scene from Star Wars Episode 1, the pod race, and turns it into just this fantastic racing game. Not only is this a great Star Wars game, the best Star Wars game on the Dreamcast, it's one of the best racers on the Dreamcast as well. It's a ton of fun. There's a lot of hidden mechanics going on here and stuff under the hood that you wouldn't think, with overheating and having to repair your pod as you race. Great game. King of Fighters Dream Match 99 is my favorite King of Fighters game from my favorite fighting games series. It's deep, it's the best of the King of Fighters series. There are so many characters to choose from, so many different fighting techniques and different things you can use in this game, and really, it's just wonderful. The animations were through the roof on this. The backgrounds were gorgeous. Everything looked great, everything played great. If you haven't played a King of Fighters game before, do yourself a favor and find a copy of King of Fighters Dream Match 99. You will not regret it. Chuchu Rocket is a spectacular, simple puzzle game, and actually just got a new version released on Apple Arcade. So if you want to check it out there, you can absolutely do so. The goal of the game is simple. You're trying to get mice into a rocket ship safely. That's it. That's the game. It's so simple and so much fun. Capcom vs. SNK. This and its sequel were games that I never thought would happen. As a big fighting game fan, the worlds of Capcom and SNK colliding never crossed my mind as something that would possibly happen. But here it is, and it's fantastic. The animations are wonderful. Capcom and SNK really did their best here. They made a great game, combining just two fantastic franchises. Both games are great. Personally, I prefer the first one just for nostalgia reasons. This is the one that I first played and I loved it, but you can't go wrong with either game. Alright, now Crazy Taxi and Crazy Taxi 2 are going to be numbers, let's see here, numbers 8A and 8B on the list. Now this is in no particular order, obviously, but Crazy Taxi and Crazy Taxi 2, if you've never played them, let me basically give you what the idea is. You pick up a fare and you drive like a maniac to get them where they need to go, and the more dangerously you drive without really angering them, the more money you'll get as a tip. And the goal of the game is to make as much money as possible, so you want to drive as crazy as you possibly can, hence the name Crazy Taxi. This is the most faithful arcade port you're going to find for this game. It's fantastic. Now, Crazy Taxi 2 is basically the same game. There's definitely some more options here, some more gameplay modes, but the main difference is the drivers you can choose from and the location. Crazy Taxi 1 took place in San Francisco. Crazy Taxi 2 takes place in the Apple, which is totally not New York, I promise. One of the big differences in this game is you can pick up multiple fares. There are groups where you can pick up multiple people and try to drop them all off in a sequence to make some more money. What you see is what you get with Crazy Taxi. It's fun, it's fast, it's good. Gunbird 2, one of my favorite shoot-'em-ups, and something that I have now purchased multiple times. You can get it currently on the Switch in I believe one of the Arcade Archives games. This is a great game. It looks really simple, I'll give you that, but when you realize exactly how much is going on and how much stuff is happening here, like you see those coins on the screen. If you pick them up when they're flashing, you'll get more points. If you pick them up when they're dull, you'll get fewer points. The graphics in this game are fantastic. It's a bullet hell shooter that is definitely difficult, but it's not so hard that you're going to want to just quit. It's a lot of fun. It's really silly, and it's a really super good game. Now, my favorite game for the Dreamcast is Jet Grind Radio. I own this in multiple places. I've got it on the original Xbox, I've got it on Steam, and I've got it on the Dreamcast. If you've never played Jet Grind Radio, stylistically, it is the best looking game on the Dreamcast. It's a ton of fun. The idea is you're skating around and you're going to graffiti tag the city. It's so simple and so basic, but nothing in it misses. It is my favorite Dreamcast game. It is perfection.
But those are just my thoughts on my top 10 favorite Dreamcast games. Now, I know there's some missing big guns on here. Shenmue 1 and 2 didn't make the list because honestly, I've never played them. They didn't look interesting to me at the time when I was playing the Dreamcast. I was focused on fighting games and sports games, and Shenmue just didn't do anything for me. Sonic Adventure didn't make the list just because I didn't care for them. Full disclosure, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 would have made my top 10, but I don't know where my disc is, so I couldn't capture footage for it. So unfortunately, this is the Jay's top 10 minus MVC2, because that would have been easily top 5, maybe top 3 if I'm really thinking about it. Another one that I would have put on here if I had all the accessories for it would be Samba De Amigo. Great game, but unfortunately I just don't have the stuff for it. And honestly, I've got it for the Wii, and I might do a review of that in a past due review somewhere down the road, because Samba De Amigo is such a great idea for a title. But those, like I said, are just my thoughts. What are your 10 favorite Dreamcast games? I'm sure they differ from mine. Are there any hidden gems that you think should be on the list as well? If so, leave them in the comment down below. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you disliked it, give it a thumbs down and let me know what we can do to make it better. If you have watched this far, you might as well subscribe, because honestly, this is the kind of stuff we're going to bring you most frequently. Although later this week, we're going to be doing our first Quick Brick, which is a Lego video. I hope you guys enjoy that. It's going to be a little bit different, not a whole lot of talking, just some music and some Legos being put together. But that's it. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you liked it. Until next time, do more of what you love, be positive, play more games.